So what are we doing today? We're putting fuel additive, an anti-fungus, fuel preservative, biofuel treatment in an FV432 APC. Right, what the whole thing?
No.
What's the mixture like?
This one is this will do 2,000 litres. It's only got about 250 litres in it.
Right, so we're going to measure it out?
I don't know how to. I'll just
Play
tip
it
a
by
bit
ear.
in.
Okay, let's do that. All right. Well, I guess we'll go from this side. So this is the machine, FV432, Armoured personnel carrier. It's 1961, rebuilt in 2006. It's a 15 tonne.
It's a
69 model, is it? Okay, 69 model FV432. Armoured personnel carrier. Spent its life in the British Army on the Rhine, over in Germany. It was also part of the Bovington Training and Armoured Academy over in England. So it's been around the world, and here it is here in Australia. One of our most prized vehicles. In 2006 the vehicle was rebuilt, received a total overhaul, including exterior overhaul, and after that seemingly it was used as a driver training vehicle. So when it was sent to Australia, still had the learner plates on both the front and back of the vehicle. Having a bit of trouble there, are you?
Yeah.
So this is a fuel preservative again, for diesel fuels. It's like a biological of some kind. It's meant to take care of fungus. All right. Penrite diesel biocide fuel treatment. Fantastic. So it's for a lot more fuel than we hold in capacity with the vehicle. So he's pouring that in there now for mixture. So the way it works is there's two tanks. There's a filling cap on that side of the vehicle, and there's another fill cap on this side of the vehicle, and there's two internal tanks. So the two internal tanks sit on either side of the vehicle, and below the floor here, underneath this mat, there's a filter box, and the filter box itself is like a gauze with a 24 volt continuous running pump that runs over to the power pack there, which is a 6-cylinder vertically opposed boxer engine, a 2-stroke diesel, and there's a continuous flow of fuel. So once you switch the fuel pump on, the fuel then returns back to the fuel box and in turn back into the tanks. Or should I say that another way? The fuel is then fed to one of the side of the tanks, which then equalises to the two tanks, which then goes to the fuel tank, to the fuel filter. Okay. Well, actually, I'll pull this open now. So that's our fuel cutoff valve. Okay, and the box sits just inside. A bit hard to see. And that's the setup. Driver position up the very front there, and behind that is your commander position, vehicle commander position. But I'll show you a bit more when we get started. Got the top door open as well. So this is the mortar hatch. Some vehicles would be carrying mortars. And so, yeah. All right, I'll show you more. Stick around.
Jump in and connect it back.
All right. We'll start this thing up and take it out.
Yeah, it's running.
Okay, like I mentioned before, we'll turn on that fuel pump. We'll provide a continuous flow of fuel. Also mixing up that additive we've just put into the fuel as well. So this vehicle's been sitting for probably 2 months, you'd agree? 2-3 months?
Yeah, it's 3 months.
Let's go. So we'll kick it in the guts. Let's see if it goes. time to change the oil. Let's have a go. Okay, this part of the job here is the dirty part, and it's the changing of the engine oil. So what's happening now is my assistant here
is taking out the inspection.
He's taking out the inspection plug or plate. He's taking out the inspection plug. So what we're expecting to drain out is a whole lot of water that's been sitting between the two baffles in the power pack engine compartment, and that's just accrued over time, moisture, collection of water. We had it out in the weather at one point when we were doing a movie. So we have a large container to collect all of that. We're expecting there to be a bit of runoff because there's a flange in the exhaust as well. It has a slight leak, so it'll be a dirty, oily water that comes out, but we're expecting mostly water. We need to take this plug out in order to remove the sump plug, which sits within the engine compartment. So there we go. It's a sludgy, black, watery oil. Not a pleasant job. So that's step one. So that's your brass plug as mentioned, for the access to the sump plug. So you can see oily water, crap just really draining out of the center baffle. The front baffle, as you can see, is accessible with this plate here. Now we have to take that out again today because water's collected in the front as well, and we need to make sure that that's drained out. And the rear, I'm going to try and zoom in here, rear brass plug for the rear baffle, accessing the furthest most part of the engine bay, is for the gearbox. So when you do a gearbox oil change and you service your gearbox, part of the gearbox service is also a replacement of a gearbox filter, but that'll be a separate video. But we'll just wait till that all drains out now. The exercise, we're going to fold the front down. This is the main inspection plate for the steering box and for the engine as well. You can inspect most of the engine from this side. The only other use of this is you can also open the valve which releases the coolant, which is the next job we'll be doing as well. We're doing a coolant change today. It's quite heavy and it's armour plate. So as you can see, our steering box, it's a double clutch and braking system. So first step is clutch, then brake. They're oil floated bands or oil covered bands inside. Through these inspection plates you can remove the band, which we've done in one case. We were lucky to purchase and source a band from England. These measurements indicate the wear on those bands. It can all be adjusted through. Those two arms feed down and across, and that's where the two center steering controls. That's what they control. Down there is your oil reserve for the steering box, and you can see the engine right there and one of the flywheels. The plugs at the top there, I'll just try and use my finger to point. Those plugs there, they're unplugged when you do a power pack removal, and I'll put some photos and videos as I'm speaking now of when we last did an oil filter change and a full engine power pack removal for the vehicle. You can see over, I don't know, it's a bit hard to see, there's a flange there for the exhaust. That is a very, very slight leak, which is almost negligible, but that's why, hence, there's a bit of oily water coming out the bottom of the engine bay. I think that's it. This is just a the equivalent of a glove box for the vehicle, and just in there is normally where the driver would sit. All this cover, which we preferably call piano boards, are just covers for the engine. with some insulation that we've actually redone. It's a bit hard to see up there, but we've repainted and re-insulated all that covering. It was just looking a bit trashy. Just part of the constant maintenance and aesthetics it's got with the vehicle. All right, let's go. So the point we're at now in the process is we're taking off, or taking out the, really poor angle there, but we're trying to take out the sump plug, and as we've discovered, the sump plug is actually quite tight. So what we are doing now is using some leverage to try and undo that sump plug. Got nothing. Alright, here you go. How you might do that. It's going to be a quick process. Come on, I'll grab it. I'll grab it, yep.
Put it in there. A bit further in.
Yes.
A bit further.
Yes.
Right.
Ready?
Yep. You pull it towards me.
You got it holding it? You're holding it on
it.
it? I don't want to strip this thing.
Jesus.
That's tight. What's going on? Wait, I'm ready? Ready?
No, let me do it.
No, that's all right. I'll put a little bit of pressure on it.
No, I'd rather do it. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. I'll do it.
I haven't even heard it click.
Okay.
Oh, was that it?
I don't know.
That's immense pressure. Still on?
Yeah.
Damn. That's tight.
Coming out here. I think.
Alright, okay. This is just a standard oil.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, alright, okay. Make sure you have the copper washer. Alright, that's that. So, such a dirty job. Not that fantastic. So what we have here is 33 litres. What's that equivalent to in gallons? 7.6 gallons or something of oil. Now, just a bit of a descriptor. The vehicle owner's manual, which is like the manufacturer GKN Sankey descriptor in terms of oil specification is it gives like OME something something something, which is like a British standard or a military MOD standard. But if you converted that, it's a straight 30 grade, not a multi-grade, but a straight 30 grade oil. You alright? You got it?
Yep. I've got the washer too, so it hasn't dropped in the drink.
That's alright.
So it's a bit of a success story so far.
You're trying to squeeze your hand up onto it. Anyway, so it's 33 litres, 7 point something gallons, but we're using straight 40 grade. Now here in Australia, we operate with slightly higher natural weather conditions. So with hotter days and everything, and the fact there's a little bit of wear in the engine, it handles the 40 grade a lot better, and the oil pressure remains constant. So it's a matter of just personal choice, and to cover ourselves, we're happy to run it at 40 grade. I'll show you that process when we're filling up in just a tick. Okay, so we're about to put oil back into the vehicle. What we're using is a monograde 40, which is not the exact equivalent for the vehicle as per manufacturer specification, but in our honest opinion and with a bit of experience, we noticed that the 40 runs so much better. There's no low pressure light indicator that comes on and off. It can idle at sort of any RPM and be comfortably lubricated. So it's there's various manufacturers out there that you can purchase this oil from. We've chosen Atlantic on this occasion. I know that there are other manufacturers out there, Gulf Western, etc. That's a container of our spare from last time. Takes 33 litres, 7-8 gallons worth, and the vehicle naturally burns a little bit of oil as well, just because it's worn and it's a two-stroke. So I'm going to jump now inside the driver's compartment, and to the left of me is where the accessibility for the dipstick and the refiller hole is for the vehicle. So I'll show you that now. So this is inside the vehicle from the driver's position. Our two steering controls, the main control front Yes, it's equivalent of a dashboard in a vehicle, like an automobile. We have a miles per hour speedometer, tachometer. We have a coolant temperature gauge at the very top here, oil pressure, gearbox temperature gauge, fuel gauge, and an amps readout for charge and current. Over the left hand side, we've repainted this, as I mentioned before, the piano boards. This is the gearbox accessibility, so refiller at the very back there. That's actually a handle which disengages the entire power pack from the transmission. The point of that is if you're starting this vehicle in extremely cold temperatures, you're able to reduce the load on the engine, and it might make it easier to start. Behind here is the access to the governor, which takes a very thin oil. Might even have some of it here in a container. It's a very light oil, something like a sewing machine oil. And that needs to be monitored as well, because if the engine ever runs away, you have a really bad situation on your hands. Now here's the engine oil dipstick, which is also, it doubles as a filler point. I'll just pass that back to my no retirees were harmed in the making of this film.
Thank you.
So a very long dipstick, because below here is looks like a radiator hose which feeds down to a container, a sump container, and that sump is the oil from that sump is pumped into the engine, so it's like a reservoir. So it doesn't work conventionally where you'd see the sump is the bottom part of the engine. The sump is actually the middle section of this engine, and the engine oil is kept separate to the engine, but still part of the power pack. I'll show you photos again about the power pack. So anyway, I'm just going to move the giant 20 litre container just above this, and we'll fill it up. So as mentioned, this is the refilling point for the engine oil. Crystal clear, very different from what came out of the engine. We have to wait for this entire container to empty now, and it'll probably take most of this. As I said, 33 litres in total.
2 containers, 1.5 of those.
Maybe 1.5. So very large sump for this engine. But that's how we fill. That's how we change engine oil.
Just have to break the seal.
So
put that on there. We have to.
What we're doing now is undoing the furthermost front inspection plug. Oh shit, that's tight. We have a key that's been purposely made. One side's the hexagonal head, the other side's a 1/2 inch drive. That is used to take out all the plugs on the vehicle on the underneath. Now we're expecting a bit of water and gunk and shit to come out as well, and we're expecting that because as I said, the vehicle was left in the rain on one occasion when we were filming a TV series that ended up on Australian TV. There we go. Don't worry about it. I'll get it later. We can wipe it down. So this is a good sign. At least it's out. Better out than in. Okay. So that's that. Okay. We've reached final destination for today, 16th of September 2023. F is for FV432, and we are about to change the coolant. It's been well and truly at least 2 years since this has been done on this vehicle. So I'm going to show you how to access this is the radiator cap. As you can see, bomb-proof seal at the top. And this is a pressurized cap, like a normal conventional motor vehicle cap. It's removed as such, and our coolant level's fine. Fantastic. Now we know that we can access the top of it. we're fine to now go to the very front of the vehicle, open the tap which drains the radiator. There's two radiators, one at the very rear and one at the front of the vehicle, and we can drain all the coolant out. Following that, we can add our glycol concentrate, and then proceed to fill up with water, therefore filling the vehicle up with coolant. As I mentioned before, our access to the back, mortar doors. They have another fold in them, so they completely open, and that's a round hole in the back of the vehicle. That's it. Okay, we've reached this stage. I'm going to now open the tap, and this tap will allow the coolant to drain. I'm just going to relocate where that is. Very cool. There. I need the torch, thank you. Okay, it's not there. It's not there. There it is down there. Can you hold the torch like that?
No, you won't be able to video. You won't be able to reach it.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to just open the tap down.
Did it move?
I'm lucky I can get my arm in there to do it. Yeah, there she goes. Wow.
Okay.
That's a bit of a reach.
And it's thrown out.
And you can see the coolant running out into the hole, then out through those plugs we've removed. So we are about to fill up some coolant additive into the vehicle. We just put a few litres in. Just put this down. Just put a few litres in of water. So this is not pre-mixed.
That's 20 litres.
This is the concentrate. So let me get the numbers for you right now. The entire vehicle carries or takes 44 litres in total of coolant. Okay, and so it works out to be 2.5 of these bottles of concentrate plus a water mixture. It's just Penrite standard. It's not the anti-icing or extreme cold weather agent. It's just a standard corrosion inhibitor, 100% concentrate Penrite. It also indicates not to drink this on the label, but you'd think people would be smart enough to know that. Driver's compartment, commander's compartment, top of the vehicle. Right, so what we'll do is we'll start her up again. Now we have the cap off the radiator, so any bubbles or anything that have formed will they'll escape. There goes the oil light off, so pressure's built. To notice as well is that these two-stroke diesel motors, when left idle, build up a lot of sediment in the exhaust system. That's because they're naturally a very rich running motor. So after a long time of idle, you see a lot of smoke. So in other videos you'll see the FV432s producing a lot of smoke, a bit commonly like a steam engine. That's it for today. We've given it a bit of a run, changed the oil, the engine oil that is, the coolant as well, and spent some time playing around with an amazing APC. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.